Hello students, in this video we'll start with the first unit of our syllabus, that is solid state. Last year this unit was excluded from CBSE syllabus, but again in the revised syllabus this unit has been included. Now what is meant by a solid? As we look around, most of the things we see are solid substances rather than liquids or gases. It's the state of matter. So as soon as I say solid, this picture comes in our mind. Now what this picture says? This picture says that solids are those substances in which the constituent particles are tightly packed. There is negligible intermolecular distance. The circles represent the constituent particles. So constituent particles are tightly packed in solids. Now, what are the other characteristics of solids? So first characteristic is these have definite shape and volume. Solids are quite rigid. The third characteristic is intermolecular distances are negligible or zero, you can say. And the next is intermolecular forces of attraction are maximum. The next important feature is they are almost incompressible. For example, gases are compressible, but solids we cannot compress. And one more important point is there, that in solids the constituent particles are at fixed places. Okay, they cannot move. The particles cannot move from one place to another. Only the particles can oscillate at their mean position. So these are some important points about the solids. Now in this chapter what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss that how many types of solids are there. What is the classification of solids? Then we'll discuss what is the internal structure of solid, that how the constituent particles are arranged in the solids. We'll discuss about the properties of solids, what are electrical properties, what are magnetic properties, and what types of defects or imperfections are found in solids. So that we are going to discuss in this chapter. So we are going to discuss these points in this chapter. So we'll start with the first point, that is classification of solid. Now as far as solids are there are two types. First is crystalline and second is amorphous. Now what is the meaning of crystalline solid and what is the meaning of amorphous solid? So if I make a picture, the difference will be clear to you. The particles are tightly packed and the particles are arranged in a regular pattern. Here also the particles are tightly packed, but there is irregular arrangement of particles. So the difference between the crystalline and amorphous solid is in the arrangement of constituent particles. Constituent particles can be atoms, constituent particles can be molecules, or they can be ions. So if the particles are regularly arranged in a particular pattern, it is crystalline. If the particles are irregularly arranged, it is amorphous. So we can write this. So crystalline solids are those in which the constituent particles like atoms, ions or molecules are arranged in a regular pattern in 3D. 3D means in space. And when the constituent particles are not arranged in a regular pattern, it is known as amorphous solid. Now we'll discuss few more differences between crystalline and amorphous, and we'll discuss the examples of crystalline and amorphous solids. Now these are the differences between crystalline and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids are those which have regular 3D arrangement of constituent particles, as we have seen in the diagram also. Amorphous solids are those which have irregular arrangement of constituent particles. The particles will be tightly packed, but the arrangement is not regular. Since they have regular arrangement in all the directions, they are supposed to have long range order. Okay, so crystalline solids exhibit long range order. Okay, a similar pattern is repeated for a longer duration. And here, since there is arrangement is irregular, so we cannot find a regular pattern for a long duration. For short distances, the pattern will be regular. So they have short range order. These have sharp melting point, and these do not have sharp melting point, but what will happen when we heat any amorphous substance? It becomes soft. It will not melt. For example, when you heat plastic, what will you find? Okay, it will be soft, but it will not melt. So plastic is an example of amorphous solid. So these soften over the range of temperature. Now when cut, these split into two pieces with smooth surface. So cleavage is clear, but when they are cut, they split into two pieces with irregular surface. Now the last point is, these are anisotropic and these are isotropic. So we are going to discuss this thing in detail. Now what happens, what is the meaning of anisotropy or what is the meaning of isotropy? There are several physical properties like conductivity, refractive index. Okay, so there are several properties of solids like conductivity and refractive index, and if these physical properties are different in different directions, then that property is known as anisotropy. Suppose this is my crystalline solid. The particles are regularly arranged. Suppose in this direction, if I calculate conductivity, it will be different. Suppose in this direction, if I calculate conductivity, it will be different. So when the physical properties are having different values in different directions, then that phenomenon is known as anisotropy. And why this happens? Because of regular 3D arrangement. So in one direction, the particles will be there. But suppose if you calculate in this direction, now no particles are there. And when the physical properties are same in all the directions, it is known as isotropy. And this is because of irregular arrangement. Because in every direction, suppose this direction, particle is there. This direction, particle is there. This direction, particle is there. So in every direction, there will be some particles. So definitely the physical properties will be same in all the direction. So this is the difference between anisotropy and isotropy. Now these crystalline solids are true solids because they exhibit all the properties of solids, but the amorphous solids are pseudo-solids. Now what is the meaning of pseudo-solids? Pseudo-solids means super-cooled liquids. Now what is the meaning of super-cooled liquid? Now what is the structure of liquid? Now liquids have this type of structure. The particles are not regularly arranged and there is distance between the particles. Suppose if I cool this liquid, what will happen? If I cool this liquid, the particles will come close. But the arrangement will be like this only. It will not turn to a regular arrangement. So it is believed that amorphous solids are basically supercooled liquids because the internal structure of liquid and the internal structure of your amorphous solid are same. Only the difference is in the state only. So when you cool any liquid, what happens? It slowly freezes to a solid, but the internal structure remains the same. So amorphous solids are pseudo-solids. Physically they look like solid, but the internal arrangement resembles to a liquid. They are also known as supercooled liquids. Now what are the examples here? NaCl, copper, silver, all your solid substances you can write here. And what are the examples of amorphous solid? Glass, rubber, plastic. Now these are the examples here. So they look like solids, but the internal arrangement is similar to liquids. Now we have the classification of crystalline solids. Okay, so solids are of two types, crystalline and amorphous. And what is the basic difference? The basic difference is in their internal arrangement. Crystalline solids have regular 3D arrangement of particles and amorphous have irregular arrangement. It is believed that amorphous solids are not true solids, they are pseudo solids or they are super cooled liquids because the internal arrangement of amorphous solids resemble to liquids only. So in this chapter we have to discuss only crystalline solids in detail. So there are four types of crystalline solids: molecular, ionic, covalent and metallic. Now I have tabulated the differences between the four types of crystalline solids. Now molecular solids are those in which the constituent particles are molecules, means they are made up of molecules. The very best example of molecular solid is your ice. Okay, now ice is made up of water molecules. Okay, the constituent particles are H2O. The next example can be iodine. I2 is solid in a state. I2 molecules are there. In ionic solids, the constituent particles are positive and negative ions. For example, NaCl can be there, MgCl2 can be there. There are so many ionic compounds. In covalent solids, the constituent particles are atoms, and here we can write the example of your graphite, diamond. Now both are made up of atoms. In graphite and diamond, they are made up of carbon atoms. Covalent bonds are there. And last is metallic solids. The constituent particles are positive ions and electrons. Now what happens in metals? There are positive ions, and these positive ions are known as kernels. What is the basic tendency of a metal? Metal has a basic tendency that at room temperature it loses its electron. Suppose I am having Na+. So this is my Na+. Okay, now it loses its electron like this. So this would be the structure of a metal. So this is known as positive kernel. Okay, now what is positive kernel? That is whatever thing remains after the loss of valence electron, that is positive kernel. So this is my positive kernel, this is valence electron, positive kernel, valence electron. So these are the constituent particles of your metals. Now metallic solids are so many, you can write any example. You can write sodium, silver, gold, zinc, so many metals are there. This is the first difference. The second difference is between the forces of attraction. Now, in case of molecular solids, what type of forces of attraction are present? Now, molecular solid means the constituent particles are molecule. One molecule, second molecule, third molecule. And in between the molecules, we know that the forces of attraction are dipole-dipole forces or van der Waals forces. Okay, what are van der Waals forces? The force of attraction between any two molecules. So in case of molecular solids, the forces of attraction are either dipole-dipole or van der Waals. In case of water, the forces of attraction are hydrogen bonding. They can be so many. In case of ionic solid, the forces of attraction are electrostatic, because between a positive and negative ion there can only be a electrostatic force of attraction, and it is quite strong. These forces are weak forces, but here these are strong forces. Now in case of covalent solids, the forces of attraction will be covalent bond. Okay, and we know that covalent bonds are very strong. And likewise in case of metallic solids, the forces of attraction are metals. So this is the second difference between the four types of crystalline solids. The next is about their physical state. So the third point is about their physical property. Now since the forces of attraction are very weak, these are soft with low melting point. Okay, we have seen about water. Okay, so these are very soft because of weak forces of attraction with low melting point. Now since the forces are strong, these are quite hard with high melting point. These are also hard with high melting point because covalent bond is a strong bond. And likewise metallic bonds. Now metallic bonds depends upon the strength. So metallic solids are soft to hard with low to moderate melting point. Some of the metals are very soft. For example, sodium. We can cut with a knife. Some of the metals are very strong, very hard. For example, zinc, copper. Okay, so metallic solids range from soft to hard. It depends upon the strength of metallic bond. If the bond is weak, they will be soft. If the bond is strong, they will be hard. Now about their conductivity. Now molecular solids are insulators. They will not conduct electricity. Ionic solids are conductors in aqueous or molten state. Covalent solids are also insulators, and one exception is there, that is graphite. Okay, graphite is very good conductor of electricity, and metallic solids are good conductors. Now ionic and metallic solids are conductors. Here the conducting power is due to ions, and here the conducting power is due to free electrons. So this was all about the classification of crystalline solid, and in this chapter we'll focus mainly on ionic solids. Okay, whatever we'll discuss, that is the structure, properties, defects, we'll discuss regarding the ionic solid only.